All right, so good evening and welcome. I'm Dr. Natalie Gianforte here at Minnetonka Family Chiropractic, and I want to personally welcome you to 2021. It's a fresh start. And I know many of you that are tuning in here this evening, your typical lifestyle habits and routines potentially got completely derailed in 2020. So I know you're tuning in to just get the inspiration to get back on track. So I'm excited to do that for you this evening. I know some of you are just committed to constant and never-ending improvement when it comes to your health. And we recognize that health is a journey. And, tonight the goal is to walk you through the right information so you can continue to make progress on that journey. And I know some of you are tuning in because you are dealing with a health issue. Some of you, maybe it's depression or it's anxiety, or you've gotten diagnosed with something like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, thyroid issues, gut problems, like the list goes on. And you're really here because you want to reverse those things and you want to learn how you can heal naturally. So my goal tonight is to really speak to all of those things for all of you. And I want to walk you guys through just some powerful principles when it comes to health, to nutrition, to detoxification, to exercise, that really have the potential to transform your health, to get your body healing faster, to reverse those things that we just talked about, to really reinvigorate your energy, reset your metabolism, balance your hormones, especially those that regulate whether or not your body's burning fat or how well you're sleeping or your mood, and take action steps that promote cellular healing. So we've got a lot to cover. It's going to buckle up. We're going to have some fun. And really the whole reason that we do this is our purpose. The reason that we exist here in our clinic is to help people just live to their fullest through good health. So I've got a question for you to start the evening off, and take a moment here for a little self-reflection. I want you to think about your life right now, your lifestyle, your habits. And I want you to think about areas where you have been choosing the donut over the apple in your life right now. So think about that for a second. Use that as kind of a metaphor. Where have you been choosing the donut over the apple? And what I mean by that is in what areas of your life, like what choices have you been making that feel good in the moment, like eating the donut, yet there's other choices that you probably should be making, that are actually helping you stay on track with your goals. So for some of you, maybe that's you've been working from home, so you don't have to commute to work anymore. So you've been hitting the snooze, or you've been sleeping in because you can and it feels good, when really, you probably should just be getting out of bed and maybe getting a quick workout in, or, meal prepping for the day, or having some focused morning routine time. But I want you to identify those areas, because the goal by the end of this evening is that you really walk away with some action steps and some specific things that you're going to say, okay, yes, that's what I'm going to change. Like that's what, okay, I'm drawing the line in the sand, and I'm going to change in that area, because that's my goal, to inspire you, to make some of those changes and really to learn the right information so that you are choosing the proper habits to move in the right direction with your health. So part of that starts with just you and making the decision that you want to change. But I know some of you have potentially been choosing the donut for so long that you maybe feel like you can't change, or you lack the energy or the motivation to change. And if that's you, I want you to think for a second. Think about that plant in your house that you've neglected for the last month. I have plenty of those around that, when you walk in the room and you look at the plant finally and you realize that it's there, and you're like, oh, wow, it's wilted. It's got brown leaves on it. You're questioning if it's, still alive. And here's what's amazing about that is if you give that plant what it needs, right? Like if you pluck off the brown leaves and you give it some proper sunlight, you maybe give it a little plant food, you give it some water, What's amazing about that plant is in a couple weeks, it's going to spring right back. It's going to heal, right? And it's going to look good and alive and flourishing in a couple weeks. And I point that out because that's really the potential that's inside of you, regardless of how you feel right now, regardless of your current habits. And maybe you have some of those brown leaves, maybe you have some extra weight, or you have a specific health condition that you're dealing with. And what I want you to know right away today is your body's designed to heal. And all you have to do is give it what it needs to function and heal like it's designed to. And that's really what tonight's about. So we have to first change that thought process in your mind. If you're looking for some good, mental perspective, Dr. Justin did a great webinar at the beginning of the year here that you can go back and watch on our Facebook page that really walked through how to get your mind in the right place, especially when it comes to changing your lifestyle. But you've got to start telling yourself that you can change. You have the power to change, and your body is designed to heal. So the good news is that you have that going for you. And I know that you're capable, and you can make the changes that I'm going to cover tonight. So tonight, I really want to walk through nutrition. Obviously all 5 essentials are very important, but tonight I'm going to focus in on nutrition as well as exercise and detox. And you are going to have the opportunity to join in on a 45-day challenge. Why 45 days? We know that it takes a minimum of 21 days to form a new habit. So our goal is to push you to 45 days so that this is not about weight loss, although that's the side effect of a lot of the changes that I'm going to be talking about this evening. Is that when you give your body what it needs to function, you actually get rid of the excess weight that you maybe are carrying around. So yes, you will lose weight if you have that excess weight to lose. But most importantly, this 45-day challenge is really designed to not just be something that you do for 45 days and then fall back to your old habits. The reason that we're doing it for 45 days is to help you form new habits. And I want to pre-frame that, and that we're not asking you to be perfect, right, for the next 45 days, because let's be honest, that's probably not going to happen. And I don't want you to handcuff yourself to feeling like you can only do the challenge if you're going to be perfect for the next 45 days. I know some of you have a week-long vacation planned within the next 45 days. That's okay. You can still plug in and do the challenge, and you will still get amazing results with your health as a result of that. So stay tuned for more information on that. But let's dive right in. First and foremost, if there's a change in your life that you want to make, for example, maybe you want to start eating the apple over the donut, the first thing that has to happen is you have to come up with a big enough reason why you're going to start choosing that apple over the donut, right? Or come Monday morning, you're going to hit the snooze again until the last moment where you have to roll out of bed. So your reason for changing or cutting out that old habit, forming a new habit, needs to be big enough. You need to develop a big why. And, for example, for me, when I make healthier choices, naturally I feel better and I have more energy, and that's good for me. But one of the driving forces for me, one of my big whys, is that when I do make good choices and I feel better and I have more energy, that has a ripple effect to the rest of my life, right? So that means I'm happier with my kids. I have more patience. I'm a better mom. I'm a better spouse. I have more energy, and I'm happier. I'm more present to be able to pour into our team here at the office. Even more importantly, our patients, you yourself, you have a better experience in our office when I'm making healthier choices, and we are, radiating at that level. So for me, that's it. It's for, that drives me to make better choices, even in the moments when I'd rather eat the donut, right? Because I have those moments just like you. Having a big why that you can anchor to will help you overcome anyhow. It will help you overcome that small moment where you're feeling weak and feeling like you want to make that bad choice. Having a big enough reason not to is very, very powerful when it comes to changing your lifestyle. So again, if that's the type of help that you really need to dive in, and you need to go back and listen to Dr. Justin's webinar about maximizing your mindset. But at the end of the day, I wanted to point this out. I know the focus of the world this last year, going on a year already now, has been COVID. And something that, I find to be very interesting that I wanted to point out to you all is, yes, right around 300,000 people in America specifically, have died in relation to COVID. But if you look at this chart, far over double that amount. So well over 600,000 people this last year died from heart disease. And in addition to that, another nearly 600,000 people died from cancer. And what's crazy about that, we obviously didn't hear that in the news, yet it was, dwarfing even like the COVID numbers. But that happened the year before and the year before and the year before. And I know many, myself and many of you included, have been affected by people that have died in those ways. But something I wanted to point out is that your lifestyle, your choices, and your current level of health decrease your risk of all of those things, all of the leading causes of death in America. So there's no better time to make a change. I know in 2020, it was also a very common year for people to pack on the pounds, to gain weight. The average adult, 30% of people, 35% of people gained weight. Something that I thought was very interesting yet sad about these numbers were that millennials, and Gen X, so high schoolers, young people actually gained the most weight over the course of this last year. And obviously a lot of different factors go into that when we're talking quarantine and, gyms being closed, and a lot of those students at home all day, not, participating in their typical activities, which all affects that. But, the concern here is that all of the top diseases that we see in America, heart disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes, being overweight or obese, it fuels all of those, and it contributes. It's an underlying factor in all of those things as well. So what's crazy when you look at the standard American lifestyle today, 2 out of 3 Americans are overweight or obese. This number will blow you away. Only 19% of Americans get the recommended amount of exercise on a daily basis. Over 360,000 people died this past year directly related to being overweight and an unhealthy lifestyle. So that number, 360,000 people died directly related to an unhealthy lifestyle. And that's a very similar number to, the amount of people that died in relation to COVID this year as well. So putting that all into perspective, I guess the point is there's no better time to take control of your health and commit to making some changes. And unfortunately, we still currently live in what I would consider a sick care system, in that when you look at what your insurance pays for example, this quote comes directly from Medicare, but care that seeks to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong and enhance the quality of life, something that I would say we all would want, is not considered medically necessary. Basically, that means that your insurance, your health insurance, won't pay for anything that promotes health, prolongs, and enhances the quality of life. However, we know that losing your health is the leading cause of bankruptcy. So, maybe your action step is going to be joining a gym, or maybe it's going to be buying healthier food or committing to buy more organic foods. And, maybe it's committing to starting to get adjustments, in the clinic. Regardless of what those choices may be, it might cost a little bit more, but I want to pre-frame that and help you understand that your health is an investment. And it is by far the best investment that you could make. So when you approach some of those things, try to look at it that way, is that you're investing in your future health and your future life, and living life to its fullest through good health is totally priceless. Totally priceless. I definitely can agree with that. So it's more important now than ever that you've got to take your health into your own hands. And number one, that starts with what you eat. So let's dive into nutrition. First and foremost, you've heard me say this before, that you're designed to eat to give your body the nutrients it needs to function well. right? So directly, whatever you're putting in your body directly ends up impacting and affecting how your body is functioning. So when you look at the top sources of calories among Americans, it's slightly scary. But these things that you see on the screen here are the main sources of calories for the average American. We've got grain-based desserts at the top, breads, processed meats, sweet drinks, pizza, and then alcohol. Most Americans, we consume far too much sugar, sweeteners, enhanced flavored foods, processed foods. And I want to go through these because they compare the amount of sugar in a Krispy Kreme donut to common snacks that you might be eating. Since we're talking about donuts tonight, I thought I'd throw these in. But here's what's crazy. I used to eat these every single day in college at like 10 o'clock. This was my snack. And I thought I was eating something healthy, right? Like it's a fruit and nut bar. Doesn't matter the brand. Most bars are going to be loaded with added sugars, or they're made out of grains, which basically turn around and break right down into sugar. So I didn't realize that I was having a donut every day at 10 o'clock, but now you do. So make sure to avoid that. When people are trying to cut out soda, this is something that I see a lot of people naturally switch to, is something that still has flavor. It's still sweet, like an all natural, iced tea, but it's sweetened, has a lot of sugar. Actually, there's more sugar in that than there is a can of soda. This one is really annoying to me when you think about it. This is a, mom trying to feed their kids well. So they send them with a mixed fruit cup. But little do we know that there's actually high fructose corn syrup in the liquid that fruit is sitting in oftentimes. And there's added sugars, not just the sugar coming from the fruit. And this one's the big kicker, especially if you're that mocha jocha drinker, I call it. If you're drinking any of the fancy mochas, peppermint latte, caramel macchiato, fancy drinks, there's a lot of hidden sugars in there that a lot of people aren't aware of that are there. So number one, if you were to make one change when it comes to your diet, just start paying attention to the amount of sugar that you're consuming. So the World Health Organization says that for a woman, you should be shooting for 20 to 25 grams of sugar a day. For a man, it's 25 to 30. They get 5 extra. But most people, for example, if you start your day off with a Yoplait yogurt, like a flavored yogurt, that on average is going to have 26 grams of sugar in it. So if you're starting your day off with something like that, there's so much added sugar to it, you're already over your allotted amount for the day. So for some of you, if you're newer to this, I just encourage you to just keep track for one day. Literally count anything that you put in your body, how many grams of sugar that you're getting, and it blows a lot of people away. So the problem with it, when we consume too much glucose, number one, your body stores excess glucose as fat, as glycogen. So it leads to weight gain. And the average patient in our office, if they cut out sugar, they'll lose 12 pounds in 4 weeks just from cutting out the processed foods and the added sugars. It affects your hormones. So when you consume a lot of glucose, then your insulin levels go up. That also drives up cortisol. That also drives up estrogen. So consuming too much sugar, or having sugary snacks throughout the day, or added sugars, that can lead to mood swings. That can also end up affecting your sleep cycles. It leads to hyperactivity. So for a lot of kids, just really minimizing sugar in their diet can improve their focus and their ability to pay attention. It leads to inflammation. So it contributes to things like joint pain. Even we know that sugar, it fuels cancer cells. Even you look at, bacteria, viruses, they flourish off of sugar. In fact, most cancers, that is their only source of energy that they can use for their metabolism is glucose, is sugar. So obviously type 2 diabetes, if we're consuming, our insulin levels are going up and down, up and down, up and down for too long, eventually that leads to insulin burnout, and then that leads to the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. It also contributes to high blood pressure and heart disease as well. So again, I don't have to prove it to you, but if there was one thing that you really worked on minimizing in your diet, it would definitely be sugar. So getting to the cause, looking at some of the key culprits in the standard American diet that really are affecting the health of your cells, the balance of your hormones, in your body. One thing I didn't mention, the last one, like osteopenia, osteoporosis, sugar and toxins in your diet really contribute to that and fuel that because of your pH levels. So, sugar, for example, it makes your body more acidic. And if you're in that constant acidic state, the pH of your body is off. And what can happen is that your body can actually be pulling minerals from your bone to offset that. So if you at all have any issues or concerns in those areas, these are specific changes that you want to be making as well. So minimizing sugar, and it's not just your white refined sugar. Yes, we want to get rid of that, but other things to look for on the label would be high HFCS, high fructose corn syrup is what that is, fructose, sucrose, glucose, syrup, solids, anything in the OSE that ends in OSE is going to be a form of sugar that you're going to want to reduce. Every rice, grain, bread, pasta, your body breaks those carbs down into glucose. So those are also sources of things that are spiking your blood sugar, often without you really thinking about. So maybe you're not the sweet tooth, but you consume a lot of carbs and grains all throughout the day. That's something that you're really going to want to cut back on as well. So processed foods, processed grains, if you look at even, some forms of crackers, if you read the ingredients, it's, enriched, bleached, flour. So processed grains, processed meats have a lot of, they'll either have sugar added to them, but also they'll have other chemicals like MSG and nitrates that are added. Genetically modified foods, essentially the genetics of that food have been altered, and that also can affect how your body is able to break it down if it doesn't recognize it as real nutrients. And sodium is a big one. Sodium is a big one that you're going to find in anything that comes prepackaged. When I make chicken noodle soup at home compared to the canned chicken noodle soup, you can taste the difference, right? And the reason that those prepackaged foods are so rich is there's often so much sodium added to that. And that really affects the osmosis within your cells and the ability of your cells to absorb nutrients as well as excrete toxins. So really watching sodium levels. Now, I'm totally I made chicken noodle soup from home. For sure, we'll put some salt and pepper on it. That's no problem. So your Himalayan, sea salt is not an issue when you're cooking from home. You have some roasted vegetables, or you're making a grass-fed burger yourself. Of course, adding some salt and pepper is totally fine. When I'm talking about sodium, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the significantly high levels of sodium in processed meats and processed foods that we really want to be cutting back on because of how it affects your body. Toxins, this one kind of goes without saying, but really wanting to cut down on the preservatives, the artificial dyes and sweeteners that you can legitimately just see, right? You look at a bowl of Fruit Loops, you look at a neon yellow Gatorade, like that doesn't flow on the streams of the earth, right? That's artificial coloring that makes it look so pretty and makes it very enticing for kids, but we've got to recognize that that's not natural. And those chemicals I'll show you later really affect the function of our brain, affect the function of our cells. So minimizing toxins, that also includes pesticides. We'll talk more about that. So even if you're not eating processed foods, but you're eating real food, which is the goal, there can also be a lot of chemicals on that based off of the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides that they use to grow it. And at the end of the day, the more toxins and chemicals that get into your body, they can cause damage to your cells. Some of them can mimic hormones, like we'll get into, but they can really alter your health level at a cell level. So bad fats is another one. That's the fourth thing that we really want to start to cut back on and recognize in your diet. So fried foods, anything that's fried, basically what you're going to hear me say tonight is you need to increase good fat in your diet, but it doesn't mean go eat a bunch of fried food, because what they're frying that food in is the problem, right? So most restaurants, they're using canola oil, hydrogenated oils to, vegetable oil to fry their foods in. And those are oils that are inflammatory to your body and ones that you want to avoid. So fake butters like margarine, and even corn-fed meat and, highly processed meats are also going to be a source of bad fat. So we're going to break some of these things down. And there is a myth out there, especially if you're the one that you're like, oh, I really need to cut back. I want to cut some weight. Naturally we think, well, if I put less calories in, then my body will have to use more fat, for calories to burn, for energy throughout the day. And when we, I don't like the fad diet idea of that, of, counting calories, because it's all about what's making up those calories that really matters and ends up affecting your hormones and your cellular health. So this is a perfect example. You could have a handful of almonds or a Twinkie, similar calorie count, but your body reacts to those two different things completely different. So if you have the handful of almonds, your body's going to break that down. It's a great source of healthy fats. That's going to boost your brain function. The good fat is going to decrease the inflammation. There's some healthy protein in there as well that's going to help your body build cells. If you eat the Twinkie, it's a massive rush of basically pure refined sugar and chemicals. That is going to spike your blood sugar levels. That's going to elevate your insulin. That's going to elevate your cortisol. That's going to elevate your estrogen levels. That's going to affect your mood, your energy, your sleep, all together. Not to mention your body might be storing those excess calories and that excess sugar as fat. So we want to start thinking more about the reaction of what we're eating and how it's affecting our cells. Is it fueling healthy cells, or is it causing more damage and issues? So the two plans that we typically walk through is the core plan and the advanced plan, are the two main meal plans or nutrition plans that we teach. You all should have the Align Your Health book. If you don't, you can grab one here at the clinic. But the Align Your Health book really walks through these two specific plans in great detail. It gives you specific meal plans. It lays out ideas. It gives you recipes and really kind of walks you through the whys behind different things. I'm going to cover some of that tonight. But if you're looking for a good resource and a deeper read, definitely read the nutrition chapter in your Align Your Health book. But the Max Living Core Plan. This is just a healthy lifestyle of eating. And essentially, I would say, to sum this up, you're just eating real food. Unrefined, real food. And some focuses that you want to have is you really want to be focusing on healthy fats. So for a lot of you, this could just be deciding to, okay, we're throwing out the canola oil, we're throwing out the vegetable oil, we're going to start using extra virgin olive oil and coconut oil in our home, or grapeseed oil, avocado oil, flaxseed oil, lots of good sources there. So you're not consuming damaged fats. When it comes to your protein, you're really focused on eating healthy sources of protein. I'm going to get into that a little bit more as far as what I mean by that, but naturally raised animal protein. So, free range organic chicken, or, grass-fed organic beef, naturally raised, fish, or wild caught is a better term for that. Wild caught fish are going to be good sources of animal proteins. And then when it comes to grains, you're going to avoid the highly refined, your white Wonder Bread. That's what we're getting rid of here. And you're really switching to, sprouted whole grains, and the lower glycemic grains are better. So something like brown rice, or, buckwheat, also quinoa is another really good one. And, even using sources of different beans and legumes for good sources of protein as well. And then eating a variety of different fruits and vegetables. I definitely am a huge component. I love thinking about eating the colors of the rainbow each week, or, picking out different colors of vegetables and fruits throughout the week, because that means you're getting different antioxidants and minerals and vitamins and things through those as well. So that's the core plan. It's just a solid way of eating, right? Eating unprocessed real foods. So giving you some worst, better, best ideas here, switching from things like white rice to brown rice to black rice. Black rice, forbidden rice, has a lot of nutrient density to it. It's like black all the way through. So there's more nutrients to it. Switching from the white bread to wheat bread to sprouted grain bread. Ezekiel brand is an ideal brand. Another one that I like is the Angelic. They've got great like pizza rounds, or they even make wraps now. So if you're going to have tacos, instead of your white refined, taco shells, that's purely breaking down into glucose right away. If you're buying the Angelic brand, or even the Siete brand is actually made out of almond flour. That's even going to be better. So your sweeteners, high fructose corn syrup and sugar, switching to like honey or maple syrup, like real sources of there. It's still sugar, but there's some nutrient value to it. And then just using a lot less of it. If a recipe calls for a cup of sugar, I may be putting in a 4th cup of honey, something like that, or using xylitol or stevia. Those are both sweeteners that aren't going to elevate your blood sugars at all. If you are a drink connoisseur and you're drinking things like Gatorade, or you don't like to just drink plain water, maybe switching over to vitamin water zero that's sweetened with stevia, or coconut water. I love just adding essential oils to water. So I have lime, lemon, citrus, and grapefruit are kind of the variety that I have that I keep in my office. And whenever it's that afternoon, maybe time of day that I'm like, okay, I could really use something other than just water to drink, I'm getting bored of it, putting a drop or 2 of that can really spice things up too. If you are a pop drinker, that could be your one big thing that you start to change. You can try Zevia. It's essentially pop made with stevia. So if you're needing to kind of come off of that habit, that's a good alternative. Carbonated water, best thing, obviously just drinking water. So I have pictures of yogurt on there. I mentioned earlier how much sugar is in that. Switching over to, organic, grass-fed, plain yogurt is the way to go, because that's not going to have all the added sugars to it. So the advanced plan is getting a little bit more advanced. And if you are the person that you're like, oh, I need to lose the quarantine 15, or I need to lose a little unwanted weight, or I am having cravings. If you're having cravings, you need to do the advanced plan. If you're craving specific foods, specifically carbs or sugar, that means that your body is a sugar burner and your body's craving more sugar. So we've got to reset your metabolism. And the advanced plan is the best way to do that. So what the advanced plan does that's different is we need to get your body to start burning fat for energy rather than just the sugar that you're consuming in your diet. So the way that looks is for, 3 to 4 weeks, you need to completely cut out all sources of sugar in your diet. And that will reset your metabolism and get your hormones rebalanced. It'll decrease inflammation. This is great for, someone, if we're dealing with type 2 diabetes, this increases the sensitivity of your insulin and your leptin again. So the way that this looks different is that you're cutting out sugar and anything that turns into sugar. So we're completely going grain-free. So the advanced plan is cutting out all grains, because even the low glycemic ones still do break down into glucose. So cutting out all sources of grains, as well as a lot of fruit. So yes, fruit is natural. Yes, fruit is healthy for you, but a lot of fruit still has a very high glycemic index, which means that it has a lot of natural sugar in it. So if we're trying to get your body to burn fat for energy instead of sugar, we've got to cut those things out. So the fruit that is approved for the advanced plan is any form of berry, and white grapefruit and Granny Smith apples. Those are going to be the fruits that you want to focus on. So you're cutting out the melons and some of the, like the mangoes, melons, bananas, those are going to be higher sugar density foods. So those are really the big changes, is just cutting out grains and added fruit if you're already eating the core plan. And then the same, things apply, is really increasing healthy fats and, focusing on healthy sources of protein. So you are what they ate. I said I was going to get into this. A cow's, diet is supposed to be grass, alfalfa, hay. And when they eat that way, it's much higher in omega-3s, which is the good fat that we want. So you are what they ate. So most, conventional cows, they're eating corn, pesticide sprayed, corn, and that affects their fat ratio, which then affects how your body reacts to their meat. So their omega-6 to 3 level is supposed to be 2 to 1. When you feed a cow corn, it goes up like 25 to 50 to 1, which is what actually has given red meat a bad rap, in that it's acidic to our bodies. It causes inflammation. The reason that it does is not because of the meat, it's because of what that cow was eating that affected its physiology, which then affects how your body reacts to it. So if you are going to be eating, meat, if you're going to be eating animal meat, it is important, like worst, better, best, go organic first. And then secondly, go, 100% grass-fed organic, or, free range organic chicken or turkey, any of the forms, wild caught fish, like I mentioned earlier. And it's going to be way healthier for your cells and for your body. So grass-fed can be tricky. Marketing is getting smart in that they know that this is the trend because of, people have caught on to the fact that, feeding cows corn is not great for our health either. And so you'll find a lot of things that will say, milk will be, labeled as pasture raised. That does not mean that it's been 100% grass-fed. So if you're going to pay the extra dollar, right, for the healthier source, you definitely want to make sure that it's labeled 100% grass-fed. If it just says grass-fed, then what that means is it must be at least 30% grass-fed. Often they're finishing those animals on corn, or they're feeding them 30% grass and the rest, corn and other fillers as well. So just be looking for that on the labels. It's an important thing to note. As far as fats go, we've got good fats and bad fats, giving you a couple tips here. You want to get rid of the bad fats, and that's everything that you see pictured on the bottom, the fake butters, the, fried foods, anything that you're going to find, vegetable oils, canola oil in, hydrogenated oils in, that's got to go. So what we want to increase is wild caught fish, avocados. Yes, you can have an avocado a day. And if you have high cholesterol, if you start switching the bad fats to good fats, you'll notice that actually decreases inflammation, which drives down your cholesterol numbers. So you can consume more fat even if you have high cholesterol, as long as it's healthy sources. So the same thing goes for eggs. What they found in a free-range organic egg compared to a conventional egg is that the levels of omega-3s are far better in the free-range organic egg compared to the conventional egg. So again, the source of your food is what you want to start looking towards as well. So this is Sue. You might be sitting there going, how am I going to do this? First, just start eating real food. Secondly, start following some of the things that I just went through. And if you're ready for a change, if you're ready to reset your metabolism, your energy, your hormones, definitely do the advanced plan. That's what Sue did. And she lost, it's at least 15 pounds, but decreased inflammation, lost a lot of inches, off her body because her body was using that fat for energy. So it is doable. It is so doable. And when you do that, your inflammation goes down. So your blood pressure comes down. So does your cholesterol. I could go testimony after testimony of people that have finally just committed and said, I'm going to do the advanced plan for 3 to 4 weeks. And man, even if they're not perfect, right? Be perfect, do your best Monday through Friday. Maybe you have a core plan meal on the weekends, but then you get back to it on Monday again, and you will feel a difference. The testimonials, we could go on and on. So you can do it, I promise. So a couple other tips. I had to share this. Primal Kitchen has come out with so many different sauces that really helps makes eating well a lot more doable, right? And so I wanted to share a couple of my favorites. So instead of using mayonnaise that's going to be made out of canola oil and have bad fats in it, the Primal Kitchen, they've got mayonnaise that's made out of avocado oil. The chipotle lime mayo is super good if you like a little bit of spice. So using that is a great alternative. The buffalo sauce that you see there on the left, that is amazing. And one of my new favorite meals, that's a go-to, is I'll just cook chicken, and then I'll have a couple bags of organic cauliflower rice from Costco, and I'll, chop up the chicken, mix that all together, and then I put that buffalo sauce on it, maybe put a little bit of organic cheese and bake it. It's a perfect winter casserole comfort food. That's totally healthy for you. So the Primal Kitchen, all of their salad dressings, they're great because they they cut out the bad fats. That's the problem with salad dressing, is you're going to find, soybean oil, you're going to find canola oil, hydrogenated oils in a lot of those. So yes, there's other brands that are out there as well that are very good. Salad Girl's another decent brand. So I love some of their sauces, like the Caesar salad one. Makes it super easy. My kids will eat a Caesar salad if it has the right sauce on it, right? So this gives a lot of different options as far as kind of spicing it up a little bit, having a salad that actually tastes good with a good salad dressing on it. The avocado ranch is a really good one too. So siete wraps, that's a picture of that I mentioned earlier. mentioned earlier, so we have tacos in our house once a week, and the kids use the almond flour siete wraps. They also make hard shells out of almond flour like that as well, which is kind of fun. Let's see, but we just usually make like a taco salad with it also. So some different ideas for you. It doesn't have to be difficult. I do tell people fail to plan to fail. That's usually how it goes. So sitting down at the beginning of the week and just laying out, okay, what am I going to eat this week? I plan 5 meals, and then we have, I know what we have for breakfast, and then we just eat leftovers often for lunch the next day, or we put whatever we, meat or what we had for dinner, meat and vegetables that we had for dinner, and throw it over a salad, for lunch the next day. So it doesn't have to be difficult. In our house, we kind of rotate between veggie omelets. I try to switch that up, whether it's, spinach and mushrooms, or it's broccoli and zucchini, trying to add in, instead of making an omelet, with 3 eggs, if you, use 1 to 2 eggs, I'm not saying you have to limit yourself on eggs. Like, as long as you're buying the free range organic, it's okay. You can have a couple eggs, but I try to add more vegetables in. So we're eating more vegetables for breakfast. And if you put an egg with it and some, little feta cheese or goat cheese or something like that on top, it can be super yummy and doesn't take too long to make. Grass-fed yogurt and, grain-free granola is a really good one. I love to buy the plain yogurts, and then I just use the whey protein that we have here at the clinic, because it's sweetened with stevia. If you add a little bit of the vanilla or the chocolate to some yogurt and you mix that around, it's like vanilla yogurt or chocolate yogurt. We put some frozen blueberries with that. Our kids love that. If you're needing something that you really want to eat and chew, making a smoothie bowl. Sometimes we go back and forth between like drinkable smoothies and actually making a smoothie bowl. If you're tired of drinking your breakfast, a smoothie bowl is a really good idea. Just make it a little bit thicker, add in some peanut butter or almond butter and some grain-free granola or coconut. Flax seeds, flax meal is really good. Chia seeds is other good things to add in for good fats for breakfast. So lunch, like I said, we'll usually just have a salad, change it up with the different veggies each week or a different base. Sometimes use spinach, sometimes use kale, sometimes use like romaine lettuce. Even switching up your source of greens can be really good, and or what vegetables you put on top. So I like to pick a theme salad for the week, and I get that prepped on the weekend. So, I'll make a big bowl of salad, and then that goes in a bunch of different containers. And then all we have to do is after dinner that night, put the leftovers over that salad to add a little bit of meat or substance to it, and then whatever salad dressing you're using that week. So that can be easy. And then dinner, that's usually when I'm more so planning and, really focusing on having like a healthy source of meat, lots of vegetables, and then maybe throwing in, some quinoa or some brown rice, or we really like to use the cauliflower rice now. So we'll have stir fry over cauliflower rice, another great way to get in more vegetables. So doesn't have to be tough. There's a lot of resources out there for you, especially in the back of your Align Your Health book on our website. I also will go to Pinterest often and type in like paleo or healthy meals. And now that you have the knowledge, you kind of know what you're looking for. If there's specific things in a recipe, you can either just leave it out or add something healthier in for that as well. So the 45-day challenge, if you are like, yes, I need to make some changes, I want to make some commitments to really improve my nutrition, I really encourage you to join the 45-day challenge with us. It starts on Monday, the 1st of February, and it goes for 45 days. It actually ends on St. Patrick's Day. But again, this is not a calling for you to have to be perfect. But essentially what we're challenging people to do is Monday through Friday, follow the advanced plan with intermittent fasting, which I will talk about. And then on the weekends, do the core plan. So have some of that brown rice, have some of those sweet potatoes, that are gonna be a little bit more high glycemic, but have that on the weekend. And then, this is really what I usually live as a lifestyle. It's advanced plan Monday through Friday because we're in a routine. It's during the week. And then on the weekends, we might have a core plan meal here or there. So that's the challenge. You will get, if you join the challenge, I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute, as far as exactly what that entails. But I think it's totally doable for you, to just plug in, plan ahead and eat this way, even if you're not perfect, like I said. So you can change. And so learn the knowledge, work the system, invest the time, and then solve the problems along the way. And I put this slide in here because nobody is perfect, right? And all of a sudden the day gets away from you and you end up eating something. You're like, darn it, I shouldn't have done that. You have to learn from those mistakes, right? So when that happens and you recognize, oh my gosh, I got so hungry at 2:00 that I ended up grabbing something that I shouldn't have. So learn from that, solve the problem, and now you want to make sure that you have a healthy snack on hand for the next day. So you'll continue along that journey. So again, like I said, this is not about committing to being perfect and feeling that stress. It's about being excited to make some healthy changes and continue building healthier habits for lasting health is the direction that we want to go. So, excuse me. Included in the Win Your Challenge bundle, I'll talk about the Win Your Challenge bundle. But for some of you that you're like, okay, what does this look like at the grocery store? I'm going to be doing a guided grocery shopping tour. It is going to be virtual. So we're going to record it. We're going to go to the store. I'm going to walk around the grocery store and walk you guys through some of my favorite things, some different brand ideas that will get you moving in the right direction. Also, just how do you navigate the grocery store in a healthier way? So stay tuned. If you get the Win Your Challenge bundle, that will come along with a shopping tour video as well. So let's talk about fasting. If you follow health news, if you follow health at all, like you've definitely heard of intermittent fasting and the benefits of it. So I wanted to touch on that. Maybe you're eating a decent diet and intermittent fasting could be what gets your health to the next level. That could be the next, step that you take. For those of you, I think it's actually fairly easy to do. So let me walk you through what it is and why you should do it. But the 16/8 intermittent fasting method is very easy to follow, and it really significantly increases your results. And when I say results, that could be whatever you're looking for, whether it's balancing your hormones, losing weight, having more energy, sleeping better. When you follow the 16/8 intermittent fasting plan, it really helps with all of those things. So when you think about, again, back in Paleolithic times, they didn't have food at their beck and call every single moment that they wanted to eat. So they, going through specific fasting periods for the human body is very healthy, and it's also very healthy for your brain. So what that, 16/8, what that means is that you're going 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating. So this isn't that far off, I would say, and you can play with the times. So your eating window would be from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then your fasting window would be from 4 p.m. all the way through the night until the next morning at 8. So depending on what time you typically like to have dinner, maybe it could be 9 to 5, or maybe those 8 hours of eating could be 10 to 6. I do recommend, being done, the earlier you can be done in the evenings and not be eating very so close to your bedtime. That's also very helpful. So thus the 8 to 4 is a really good time frame. Again, like I said, 9 to 5 would work as well. But what's happening here is that during that 8 hours when you're eating, your body is digesting and absorbing the food that you're consuming, right? So you eat, your body's digesting it, it's absorbing the nutrients from it. Essentially, your cells are using that food for energy. So it has very little need to use stored body fat for energy anytime that you're in a feeding state, right? So the fasting state, so let's say 4 o'clock and beyond or 5 o'clock and beyond, you stop eating. And what happens for that 16 hours is that your body doesn't have access to the immediate food for energy. So it increases the fat burning hormones that actually allows your body to use stored body fat for energy. And most people, if we're eating right when we wake up in the morning and then we're eating dinner and then we're having a snack before bed, it's really preventing your body from being in that fasting state for as long. And then that decreases the amount of fat burning hormones that are released within your body. So when you are in that fasting state for at least 16 hours, so sometimes more advanced people only eat for a 6-hour period or even a 4-hour period during the day. You can try different increments and see what feels best for you. But when you're in that fasting state for longer, it actually helps to renew your cells. It really optimizes your sleep. If you eat and then go to bed, your body is still trying to digest and move that food through when your body's actually supposed to be resting and regenerating damaged cells. So it's very good at helping you lose weight because your body is having to, when you're intermittent fasting, those fat burning hormones are elevated more often, which means that your body's burning fat more often. It also really helps to improve your blood lipids, insulin sensitivity. It really helps with DNA repair. It actually triggers something called autophagy, which is basically when the body scavenges, removes, and replaces worn out cells. It's essentially when your body is healing. So when your body isn't digesting food, it actually induces this process. So spending more time at a minimum, those 16 hours of not having any food for your body to digest can really enhance all of those things that I just walked through. So if you're looking for something to take you to the next level, definitely look at intermittent fasting. And I know that word, I know when I first heard it, I was like, oh, that means it sounds like I'm going to be starving. I'm going to be hungry. It's going to be miserable, right? It doesn't have to be that way. So get into a routine. And, once that cutoff point is, you're still eating, you can still eat 3 meals. But, maybe they're in a little bit shorter time frame, and it really cuts out a lot of the evening snacking, which is what really hinders a lot of us from remaining in that fasting state and having a lot of these benefits from it. So I promise you'll feel good if you try it. So this is actually brings on an interesting topic of how we breakfast, right? So break fast. Breakfast is actually breaking your fast. And so it makes breakfast very important when it comes to what you're eating. So the last thing that you want to do after your body's gone through autophagy and you've been healing all these cells and increasing the fat burning hormones, the last thing you want to do is wake up and have a big old waffle with a bunch of sugar on it, right? Or a bunch of carbs, a big, bagel or toast, things like that. You really want to fill your body, that's your body's first nutrients after coming off of 16 hours of fasting. That's an important time to fill it with a nutrient dense meal. So, like I mentioned earlier, that's a great time to have, a bunch of vegetables and some eggs, or a green smoothie, or some form of smoothie is another, really good way to get a lot of nutrients in. That's very easy to digest and for your body to absorb as you break that fast. And don't forget about good fats. Good fats are really important during that time as well. So something that can really help with that is the grass-fed whey protein. Like I said, we put that in our yogurt. We also put it in our smoothies, and it makes your smoothie a lot more filling. If you're using the berries, some spinach or a greens powder, and then adding some protein in there. The grass-fed whey protein is the important part, is the grass-fed. A lot of protein is coming from conventional cows that is going to cause that inflammation in your cells too. So something to check out and add in. So lastly, before we move on from nutrition, the last thing I want to ask you and point out is, what's your relationship with food? I know a lot of people really end up, their relationship with food is not good, in that they are using it for a stress reliever, or, stress drives them. When cortisol is up, it stimulates your brain to crave sugar and salt. And it can very quickly cause us to uncontrollably eat. If you're a stress eater, it's not your fault. It's because your stress hormones are high. So I want to encourage you to make sure that you're getting to the cause. Yes, the first step could be, instead of eating the potato chips, like finding maybe kale chips to eat. That would be, a better source of health. Hold on. All right. So that would be a better source of, stress eating foods. But at the end of the day, really trying to get to the cause of the issue here, and what is causing you stress, and what are some other healthier ways that you could alleviate stress. We're going to talk about one of those, but I know a lot of us, even something like the diet soda, maybe it's not the sweets, but it's the caffeine or diet soda, that it's that same thing of like, this is the choice of like eating the donut over the apple, right? Like you go for that extra cup of coffee or that diet soda because it's going to help you get through the day, and it's going to help you feel better about your current situation of what you're working on or getting through. And just remember, like, to think about, like, is this in alignment with my goals? Is this helping me in the way that it should? Is this in alignment with my goals is really the best way to put that. So check some of those habits and try to find healthier sources of habits. But at the end of the day, really trying to get to the cause of why are you reaching for that? Where's the underlying factor that's leading to those thoughts or emotions, and try to deal with those in itself. So something that can help with that is the Max Fit. If you are having, if you're dealing with a lot of stress, let's say that. The Max Fit is very effective at helping to naturally balance your cortisol levels. So if you're that person that's always very high strung and your stress levels are through the roof, Max Fit, it has green decaffeinated green coffee bean extract as well as ashwagandha in it that both really help to naturally balance your cortisol levels. So if you are trying to break some of those habits that I just walked through, this is a great tool that can help you through that as well. So let's minimize toxins. Let's talk a few minutes about this. I mentioned this, but I don't think most people really understand and realize the amount of toxins that you're being exposed to on a daily basis, whether it's by drinking unfiltered water or it's buying non-organic foods, not to mention the processed foods in the typical, standard American diet. So if you're switching over to eating real foods, this is where I would say starting to look at what can you buy organic. Looking at the Dirty Dozen list is the foods that they use the most amount of pesticides on to grow them. Those would be things that you for sure want to buy organically. The Clean 15 list are the foods that you don't necessarily need to be buying organically because they don't use a lot of chemicals on them to grow them. So make sure to check out those lists. But a lot of these chemicals that are sprayed on our food supply or are getting into your body, they are considered endocrine disruptors, meaning there's xenoestrogens. They're a form of chemical called a xenoestrogen that actually mimics hormones in your body. And that can lead to hormonal imbalances, that can fuel hormonal cancers, really trying to cut out the chemicals when it comes to especially your food supply, but other areas as well as hands down a huge area if you're trying to lose weight and balance your hormones. So cleaning products, that's something that is obviously very huge right now and being used everywhere. All of the surfaces that we're touching, the antibacterials, that's also not just killing the bad bacteria, but it's killing the good bacteria on your skin. And that's actually a part of your immune system. And a lot of these chemicals can break down your microbiome, whether it's on your skin or when you're consuming some of them, that actually can cause damage to the good gut bacteria and your microbiome internally as well. So minimizing chemicals is huge. They directly affect your brain. Specifically, this study was looking at some of the artificial dyes and additives to our food supply. The top left slide there, where you see all the black dots, those are neurons within the brain. And when they expose those neurons to blue number 1, which would be like a blue Gatorade, you can see what happened. In the bottom left, they expose those neurons to MSG, which is in processed meats or processed chips like Doritos. On the bottom right, they expose those cells to both of those chemicals at once, and you can see the effect. So if you're dealing with brain fog, depression, inability to focus, ADD, ADHD, really got to hone in on identifying the sources of chemicals in your diet and your lifestyle and eliminating them. And you'll notice a huge difference with just your brain clarity, your memory, and your ability to think. So we are going to have a whole detox workshop coming up in April, I believe it is. So stay tuned for that. I'm really going to dive into sources of toxins and what to do about them. But at the end of the day, your body stores toxins in your fat. So if you're like, gosh, I just can't lose that last inch around my stomach, or, if you're feeling weight loss resistance, then you need a detox. And what that means is that your fat cells are storing toxins, and your body won't burn that fat cell if it's storing toxins. So we've got to detox the fat, essentially. So how do we do that? We do that through the detox system. That picture looks blurry. So we basically, the detox system, it boosts your body's glutathione levels to bind onto those toxins that are stored in your fat cells and throughout your body. It gets them into your gut, and then you take the body detox at night, which actually binds to those toxins, so you eliminate them and they don't get reabsorbed. So that box, it's a month's supply. And if you've never detoxed before, I usually recommend doing it 3 months in a row, but at least 1 month, especially if you're going to make some lifestyle changes, is huge when it comes to just getting flushing the bad stuff out. So next question I have for you. If there was something that would help to balance your hormones, circulate the CSF fluid in your spinal canal, which actually nourishes your brain and your nervous system, release natural endorphins that actually helps you feel happy, balance your stress hormones, improve your cravings, improve your metabolism, and give you more energy, would you want it? That's the question. And the answer is exercise. The one thing that the number would be 79% of Americans are missing. No, 81%. It was only 19% of Americans get the recommended amount of daily exercise. So 81% of people drastically need a lot more exercise in their life. So why aren't you exercising is probably the better question, because you really reap all of those benefits if you are. So I know for a lot of people, we've gone through struggles, even myself included, with, gyms being closed and then, having to work out with a mask on. There's been a lot of barriers for a lot of people when it comes to their workout routines. And, when we were working from home or we were in quarantine, you weren't traveling to the gym. So a lot of people don't know where to start right now. And I know a lot of people have just ordered the Peloton and have gone that route, or you're like, I don't have time, common excuses, gyms are too expensive, it's too difficult, I just don't feel like it, I'd rather sleep in when I can roll out of bed and then just jump on my computer. We've got to start avoiding some of those excuses, and we've got to figure something out. So there's a lot of apps out there that you can use that are great now, that it's like you can, put right on your TV in your living room and do a workout and follow along. I think probably one of the most effective things to help get yourself committed to moving and exercising, because I get that it's the winter and it's not as easy to just go outside for a walk. You've got to find an accountability partner. I think that's the most effective thing that will actually get you out of bed and get you doing it. I've seen this happen in our own family that, Peter, my husband, he started working out with our neighbor. And I tell you what, right now we're not going to the gym. It's okay. It was okay. Peter's like, I'm going to wake up in the morning, and I'm not throwing him under the bus because I'm the same way. I'm going to wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock. I'll do a 6 o'clock workout. And then all of a sudden, 6 o'clock comes around. It's like, oh, I didn't sleep great last night. I'm going to just hit the snooze. Right. And then maybe I'll work out later today. And then it doesn't happen. But when him and the neighbor are like, hey, let's meet in your basement or my garage or whatever, let's work out at 6 a.m. tomorrow. When the alarm goes off, there's no option of being like, oh, I'm just going to sleep in today, because someone else is counting on you. So get a neighbor, get someone else in your home. You don't have to get together. You can FaceTime. Like, we've got amazing technology today. Find an accountability partner and figure out a plan. So what types of workouts are you going to do? We've got some great resources for you of awesome workouts that you can do right in your living room with no equipment. But we've really got to commit to moving, because when you move, it does nourish your brain and your nervous system with the CSF fluid throughout your spinal canal. When you move, it pumps that. When you move, it increases your circulation and it delivers nutrients to your cells, and it gets the toxins out of there. It really just keeps your body functioning and healing well. And when you do it in the morning, most people notice that they end up craving healthier food, as a result of it. So find an accountability partner. That's my best recommendation when it comes to exercise. But it doesn't have to be hard. Short duration, high intensity exercise, 12 minutes a day is really all you need to get your heart rate up and to release the proper hormones that will get your body burning more fat faster. And this is something that is included in the 45-day challenge. Is we have this amazing, we put together this amazing module that has literally there's 91 workouts, and you don't have to think. You roll out of bed, you get your stuff on, you turn the music on, you FaceTime in your accountability partner, and you go through a 12-minute workout, and it explains everything. It's, specific movements, 6 movements for 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and 12 minutes later, you're done. And you've elevated your heart rate, your blood pressure, your circulatory system is on. And I tell you what, when you do that, you only have to wake up 20 to 30 minutes early, and the rest of your day will be better. Your brain will be more focused. You'll have more energy. You'll crave better foods. It's something that's just so vital that I think a lot of us just need to be like, okay, I just got to commit to exercising 12 minutes a day. We can all do that. So Metabolic Burn is another great resource that I want to talk about. It's newer and it is amazing. So if you are committed to like, yep, I'm going to improve my diet. Yes, I want to start exercising. this is one of the top supplements that I'd recommend getting on. It helps your body fight cravings. It has different vitamins, minerals, plant extracts that help to fight cravings. And really kickstart a healthy metabolism. It helps to promote the right hormone releases that gets your metabolism moving in the right way. It promotes fat loss and obviously helps balance your hormones. So check that one out. It's the Metabolic Burn. So the last thing that I want to kind of wrap up with is, if I feel good, I'm healthy. And this couldn't be farther from the truth in that you look at all the top diseases in our country, heart disease, cancer, even diabetes, you don't necessarily feel them. And this is why, true health is really focused on function. It's a complete sense of mental, physical, social well-being, not just the absence of disease, right? That's what true health is. And this is where your brain and your central nervous system totally come into play. So there's a study of biopsychology, which is basically the scientific study of the brain, the neurotransmitters, other aspects of the human biology that influence your behavior, your thoughts, your feelings, and your brain, your central nervous system is really what connects your mind, your brain to your body. And for you to perceive your environment, for you to interact with your environment, for you to adapt, for your entire body to function, when you think about that, like your brain through your nervous system controls all of that. And that's really the importance of having a balanced nervous system. And this can often get overlooked, especially if someone's having a health issue, like they're having a thyroid problem or a gut health issue or kidney problems or, heart or lungs. When you really look at it, if you're having an issue with any area in your body, it makes sense to first look at what controls those cells in the first place, right? We want to make sure that the signals from your brain are getting down your spinal cord, out your nerves, back and forth for your whole body to function like it's designed to and function and heal. And so maintaining a balanced nervous system is super vital, especially when you're changing your lifestyle. You're introducing new foods, you're moving with new exercise movements, you're detoxifying and improving the function of your liver and your kidneys. It's the most important time to make sure that you have a balanced nervous system and that the right signals are getting from your brain to digest that food and to absorb it. And the right signals are getting from your brain to your thyroid to release thyroid hormone to affect your metabolism and other hormones, and that your brain is actually communicating to your heart. So when you start to run, your heart beats faster to continue pumping oxygen and blood to where it needs to get. So really your nervous system is what allows you to interact and perceive your world and adapt to it. And like I said, when you're making lifestyle choices and changes, there's no better time to make sure that there's nothing interfering with that. And that's what subluxation does. So when your spine is out of alignment and it's interfering with your central function of your nervous system, it's technically called a subluxation. And that's exactly what adjustments address, is it removes subluxation to remove any interference to your nervous system so that your body can function and heal like it's designed to. So this was Misha. She came into our office. The only reason she came in, and I love sharing her story because the only reason she came in was because her husband was a patient and he was like, you've got to go check this out. And she was like, that person, she's like, but I don't have neck pain or back pain. I don't, have these specific issues. But he's like, no, you just got to go, because she was dealing with thyroid issues. And they were basically threatening, like, we got to do surgery, remove your thyroid. You've got to be on medication. And she really didn't want to go down that route. So she came in super skeptical and let us check her spine. And her x-ray is the one there on the left, where you can see her neck was completely straight. And that was really actually starting to compress the discs in her neck and putting pressure and interference on the nerves in the middle of the neck that do go right to the thyroid. So I looked at that and I was like, well, no wonder your thyroid isn't functioning well. That doesn't surprise me. We're choking off the power from the brain to get through. So I started adjusting her, and, we started working on improving the health of her spine. She started doing her home care exercises. That was her progress x-ray on the right. And within that 4 months, at the end of the 4 months, she was like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. I'll give you a shot. At the end of 4 months, I'm going to go back and get my thyroid levels checked again, and we'll see what happens. This was like her last ditch effort at like avoiding surgery and medications. And she went back and the doctors were like, jaw drop, like, what did you do? Like, what have you changed? Like, your numbers are now normal, and they had been not normal for multiple different tests. And, she of course smirked and smiled. And she's like, you're never gonna believe it. I saw a chiropractor. Like I improved the curve of my neck. I removed pressure off my nervous system. And like, we don't cure thyroid problems, but every time, so here's my point today, or a takeaway for you is, even if you don't have thyroid issues yet, right? Even if it's not bad enough that it's showing up on a blood test, if your x-ray looks like hers, if you've lost the curve in your neck from being hunched over a desk for years, then regardless of what your tests show, like, we know that that's affecting the ability of the signals from your brain to get back and forth to your body, and it's affecting your function and your overall health. So that's the importance of getting adjusted, right? And working on improving the health of your spine, doing your at-home exercises, improving your posture, because that allows your body and your cells to carry out normal function and heal like they're designed to. So, if you have warning signs, maybe you're a guest, maybe you've never had your spine checked, especially if you're dealing with any of these warning signs, like number one, like if you want to make any changes with your health, looking at the health of your spine is the first place to start, because you could change your diet, you could detox, you could exercise, but simply if the power from the brain isn't getting to your body, you're never going to get the best results. So for those of you that are patients, make sure that you're rechecking back in. Maybe you're doing good with everything else, and you're like, I've got to get back to my home care. Maybe that was the inspiration you needed to keep doing your at-home exercises, especially the stuff that you have equipment for. Why? What does it do? A lot of that equipment is really designed to offset what you're doing all day on a phone, on a computer, etc. So make sure you're plugging in with those things. So action steps. What are we taking away from here? Before you sign off tonight, I want you to think about, what is your game plan? As I talked about at the beginning, I wanted you to leave with a couple clear action steps of like, yep, that's got to go. Yep, I'm going to start doing that because I want to feel good. I want to be healthy. And I want that to affect, have the ripple effect of everybody else in your life as well. So what is your game plan? What are the specific changes that you want to make? Be thinking about that. Number two, find an accountability partner, whatever changes you're going to make, whether it is eating better, whether it is starting to exercise, whether it is committing to really cleaning up your diet and getting rid of some of those toxins, whether it's doing your at-home exercises, find an accountability partner that significantly increases your success levels. And they say that you are, think about the 5 people that you're around the most. You are the average of the 5 people that you hang around most. So check yourself. Maybe you need to find a new friend. Maybe here in the clinic, somebody that is going to help hold you accountable, or maybe somebody that has healthier habits than you. Latch onto them, start hanging out with them, start talking with them, and that's going to elevate you and help you continue to progress on your health journey. So I really encourage you, if you're like, yes, I can make some changes, I'm wanting to do this, I really encourage you to join the 45-day challenge. So it's $20. You just let us know in the office this week. It has to be this week that you need to let us know that you're going to do the challenge. It's $20. It's 45 days long. Like I said, it starts on February 1st. But when you join the challenge, we will email you a complete PDF. I think it's like 15 to 20 pages of great content for laying out the 45-day challenge. It has supportive information in there about intermittent fasting and making specific choices and what a typical day should look like. And again, it's doing the advanced plan Monday through Friday, the core plan over the weekends. And that also, the challenge also gains you access to 91 different 12-minute home workouts, variety of them, upper body, lower body, core, abs, super high intensity, fast, slow. But it will really give you a good foundation of just what you can do to start moving every single day too. So that's what the challenge includes. Really encourage you to join us if you decide to do the challenge. If you are at all hoping to lose some weight during that 45 days, then we will, when you're in the office this week, we will get you weighed in and we'll take a couple measurements for you. But really, the people who join the challenge, there's also a private Facebook group that you'll get to join, and we're really committed to holding you accountable and helping you stay on track and sharing a lot of different ideas within that closed private Facebook group as well. So we really hope you join us for that. And lastly, this is, if you're like, okay, I'm ready for some great changes and I really want the resources, this is what we're going to call the Win Your Challenge bundle. And included in this bundle is the Max Living Supplement bundle, which includes the Metabolic Burn, a lot of the ones that I talked about today, the whey protein, as well as the detox system. And the total cost for that's $172. This also will include a virtual guided grocery shopping tour. So we will send that to you. And we'll have it pre-recorded, and you'll be able to gain access to watching that, as well as we're really excited about this. We have 4 pre-recorded workouts that we want to share with you. And we have 4 different patients that are patients here in the clinic that are either owners or trainers at different gyms in the area. And we're super excited about this. They each agreed to record like a 12 to 15 minute HIIT training workout at their gym from them, and they're recording it. So this is going to be simple, that you're just going to be able to log on, and all you have to do is click the link, and you're going to be able to go through a 12 to 15 minute workout with a specific trainer and follow along and do the moves that they do. So we did 4 of them, so that way you could do 4, solid, video workouts that you just have to roll out of bed, hit play, and start, keep up and follow along. So we also have 2 different recipe ebooks that have some great new, fresh recipes in them that are for the advanced and the core, that are included in that bundle as well. So the total retail cost is $257. Today's price is $200. So next time you're in the office, or you can go ahead and you can either text us, email us, or give us a call at the office, or talk to us next time you're in, and let us know that you want to get the Win Your Challenge bundle. For the next week, it will be at today's cost of $200, and you'll get all of that sent to you. So really hope that helps you guys win your challenge. And I really want you to just remember that you don't have to be great to start. Don't, if you're like, gosh, I got a lot of things that I want to change, just start with 1 or 2 and start taking, baby action steps. And that energy and that momentum will continue to snowball forward until at the end of 2021, you're going to be looking back and go, wow, what an amazing year. What an amazing level of health that you have as a result of just making slow, consistent changes. So you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So I really hope that this was helpful for you. I really hope this blesses you and gives you that motivation to get back on track, and really look forward to all of you that are going to join us for the 45-day challenge and get the Win Your Challenge bundle to really plug in and get the best results. So wish you all the best. We are always here for love and support in any area that you need when it comes to improving your lifestyle. So feel free to reach out to any of us on the team with any specific questions that you have or struggles that you may be having. And we're going to continue to provide some really helpful content over the next month or 2 here for you as well. So have a blessed evening, and thank you for joining us.